Hi, I'm Shima. This is Amanda from Niche Decor, and we're here today with Dan from Maxwell talking all things fabrics.
When considering fabrics to apply for upholstery, what are the performance factors that should really be considered?
It's a very good question. Some of the most important things to think about is the durability of the fabric, depending on the piece that you're putting it on and how much use it's getting. Something similar to like what we're sitting on with multiple tones within it for a little bit more versatility. Rub counts are a big part of it too. And even your stain treatments that can be applied to the fabrics.
And speaking about rub counts, I think there's just a misconception in the industry. How does that work?
There's two separate tests that are done on fabrics for rub counts for high durability. One is the Weizenbeek test, which is a back and forth rub count on the fabric. And the other is called Martindale, which is a figure 8, which is a little bit more of an aggressive test on the fabric. And typically the higher the rub count, the more durable the fabric. But it isn't the end-all be-all to the factors that you must consider when picking a fabric for your home.
Yeah, because there's times where like one fabric that we're selecting is 50,000 double rubs, and there's other times it's 150,000 double rubs. So how do we decipher which one is the better go-to?
It's a good question. A lot of end users believe that the higher the rub count, that they don't want anything under 100,000. But sometimes the other characteristics about the space that you're putting the fabric in is more important than the rub count itself. Things like pets, everyday living, how much sun exposure, all these other things, lifestyle of the home and the people that are in it and the pets actually take more of a priority than the rub count.
I think you're right on that note that we've learned over time about the structure of a fabric is really important as you're bringing up pets, sometimes maybe not a woven fabric.
True.
If we don't want the hair to get caught in there. So many factors.
That's true, yes. And obviously cats are one of the biggest ones to be taking into consideration. We don't want to spend thousands of dollars on a giant, luxurious scratch pad.
You're right. We encounter a lot of clients that are really set on having a chenille or a velvet on their upholstery. What are your recommendations as to maybe why not?
Sometimes it's important to consider how much of a pile is in the fabric itself. And it's important to understand the natural characteristics of a velvet, especially a velvet more so than a chenille. Almost think of how you would decide whether you want a real leather or a faux leather for your application. So if I always say it's the Sheldon test. If you're like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory and you only ever sit on one spot of the sofa, that's going to wear and look different than the rest of the sofa over time. You can bring the pile back on a velvet by vacuuming it and brushing it. But that is part of the natural characteristics of a pile fabric where it is going to crush, model, change. That's part of the beauty and making sure that your end users, your clients understand those characteristics are an important factor before pulling the trigger on something like that.
Tell us a little bit about how fabrics may influence a space more than people would realize that it would.
That's a very good question. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. There's the pattern on the fabric, the colors, the sheen level, right? All these sorts of things take place and how the light reflects off certain things. And it's amazing how you can put something together as a full package and just simply removing one fabric will change the entire rhythm of the space that you're trying to create. Or adding something else will go in a completely opposite direction. So it's learning and understanding the psychology of your client and the space that they want to create and the mood that they want to set when you walk into that room.
Yeah, that's very good because at Maxwell, I do find you guys have a great selection of neutrals, which is is our go-to for big upholstery.
Yeah.
It's safe, it'll always last, but you guys also have some great patterns and color plays that can really, really add that personality to the space.
You're correct. And I think one of the other things that I'm noticing as sort of trending right now in the industry too is we're kind of having a little bit of a throwback to a mid-century sort of vibe where there's multiple colors in the neutral fabric you're selecting for your furniture, which then allows that sofa or your sectional to become a chameleon in the space. Because if you do decide that you want to change something in the room, you don't have to change everything. You just pick a new color out of the sofa that's there and you build off of that for when you want to refresh and redo.
Amazing.
That is something that we 100% preach, and pulling those colors out from fabrics to make it all harmonious is exactly what Maxwell does best. Now, Dan, what's something about fabric selection that clients and even designers might not fully understand?
I think one of the most important things to keep in mind when you're picking a fabric, depending on the use that you want it for, is really paying attention to the specs on the back of the sample and the intended end use for that fabric. It might have high rub counts, but the diagrams on the back of the sample might not suggest that it's suitable for heavy upholstery. So sometimes it can be a little bit confusing and misleading that the rub counts are high, but we don't recommend it for high upholstery. And so it's important to understand that if you're choosing to use something outside of the scope of what we've intended the use for it to be, you could run the risk of voiding the warranty if it doesn't perform the way in which you hope it will.
Now that all sounds a little bit scary. How does working with a experienced designer help navigate those decisions?
It takes all the guesswork out of the equation. So with you partnering with me and vice versa, having open-ended conversations, if you're unsure, it will just give your client the confidence to know that they are getting the right look for what they want. And being open and honest about those details are an important factor so that everybody feels confident about the choices that are being made.
Yeah. Oftentimes I'll call you and I'll say, oh, I have a massive sectional to do. It's in a big high traffic zone. Can I use this fabric? And you say, yes or no, consider this fabric.
Correct. And I'm grateful for you guys for that. And I will say that you guys are one of the top people that actually do reach out and double check if you're unsure. And I always say nothing ventured, nothing gained. Like, you need to understand and know what you're getting. And so if there's any questions, that's what I'm here for, to act as a tag team partner with you guys and your company as well to support.
What fabric trends are you seeing right now, and what are you most excited about?
I have a soft spot for traditional, which is a little surprising because I don't have much of it in my own home, but I love playing with it and putting schemes together. So we are seeing a little bit more of a traditional transitional flair. We're also seeing, and this is something that Maxwell has just started doing, which is a very European sort of vibe, where we now have matching wallpapers to some of our patterns as well. So you can have the same look on the window, the walls, and in the room all around. So it's exciting for me to see this sort of coming back in because it does offer a lot of variety. We're even seeing swags and jabots and fanciness coming back in on the windows too. So things are getting a little bit spicier on the windows. It's kind of cool. Another thing that I'm seeing that's sort of leaving and departing, which is refreshing after a long time in this industry, is those beige and those grays are starting to take a back burner, and we're seeing more color come forward, which is really refreshing, especially in alignment with the traditional transitional sort of vibe coming into play, with lots of multiple colors in the patterns that are being selected.
That's what we love about working with you, is that you already have that insight to the trends, what's up and coming, so we stay fresh, we stay current, and we can plan down the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is one fabric mistake you see people make all the time?
It's limiting yourself to the options available based on the rub count that you think you need and deserve.
Is there a fabric that you love that sometimes clients are hesitant about?
One that really surprised me when it launched, I was super excited about it. This is an indoor-outdoor velvet.
What? No.
Which you don't typically see. But what was interesting was how many people were a little bit timid to use it outside in hot, steamy, humid weather.
Wow.
So I challenged them and said, think about how this could work inside the home, because it has the same light fastness as this umbrella. So if you have a lot of sunlight penetrating your fabrics on your furniture, this is not going to bleach and fade the same way.
Wow.
And think about that nice, warm, cozy fire at dusk, getting ready to do your s'mores in the fire. And you've got oversized pillows done in the velvet to snuggle with while you're around the campfire at night.
That's amazing.
Dan, what's your personal go-to fabric or texture right now?
Yeah, so I'm kind of obsessed with our new texture called Storo. Again, similar to what we've been talking about with the multicolors and how you can go in so many different directions with the rest of the space based on the colors that are in here. But think about this on your oversized sectional, in your basement, in your theater room. It's cozy, it's chenille.
It's forgiving.
It's forgiving, it's stain treated as well, which is also an important factor. And it looks good and super inviting in the space. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Couldn't agree more.
If Maxwell was a drink, whether it's tea or cocktail or coffee, what would it be and why?
Rainbow Paradise.
Wow.
It's infusing multiple tones in one drink with different layers and levels of interest so that you can always bring out your fun personality in the space.
I love it.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for your time today. This
You're
has been
welcome.
very informative, and I hope it's given some things to think about with our clients as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
you.